Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we're discussing MCQs on Ernest Hemingway and his three novels, Sun Also Rises, Farewell to the Arms, and For Whom the Bell Tolls. Hemingway was born in 1899 in Oak Park in which U.S. state? So that is Illinois, which is also known as Chicago. After World War One, Hemingway, World War One, from 1914 to 18, Hemingway took a job on which Canadian newspaper? So he worked for Toronto Star. उसके लिए काम किया इसने. What is the name of the fisherman in 1952 novella, The Old Man and the Sea? That is Santiago. Was very famous character. Hemingway committed suicide at the age of 61. So what type of gun did he use? So he used a shotgun to kill himself. Published in 1924. What is the title of Hemingway's first novel, which was not a great success? Like it was an ordinary novel, like it did not get much of popularity. So that was The Torrents of Spring. Hemingway served as a Red Cross ambulance driver during World War I. So in which country was he wounded? So he was wounded in Italy. So whatever he did, he depicted himself in his novels. So if he worked as ambulance driver, so his many characters were drivers or ambulance drivers in several novels. So he depicts himself or his life incidents through his characters. Hemingway's 1940 novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls, is set during which war? So that is set during Spanish Civil War. उस Spanish Civil War के backdrop पे लिखा गया. What was the title of Hemingway's 1932 non-fiction work about the traditions and ceremony of Spanish bullfighting? So bullfighting was a very common and favorite theme of the time, and Hemingway loved it. Same is depicted in Sun Also Rises. So here, Death in the Afternoon. So Death in the Afternoon is about, it is a non-fiction work which is about Spanish bullfighting. So this is also autobiographical, that he uses his this hobby and passion in his novel. Like we talked about Santiago, so Hemingway was also a fisherman, so this was also kind of autobiographical. In what year did Hemingway win the Nobel Prize in Literature? So he won Nobel Prize in Literature in 1954. Hemingway's novels are his autobiography. Hemingway came to be known as Papa. So he was largely known as Papa. It was his nickname given by many writers or friends. Hemingway's novels include nihilism. So nihilism is like having such feeling that word has become meaningless. तो इसके novels में ये feeling नजर आती है क्योंकि इसके novels के characters जो World War से होके आए, they suffer from the same thing. The idea of lost generation was used in novels by Hemingway. So Hemingway has considerably used a lost generation in his novels. Lost generations are people who went to the war, and when they came back, they had many things changed in themselves. The term lost generation was coined by Gertrude Stein. So he was another writer who first used this term. Which novel of Hemingway includes "You Are All a Lost Generation" in the epigraph? So epigraph में Sun Also Rises is a novel जिसके शुरू में ही वो "You're All a Lost Generation" इसको use करता है. Sun Also Rises was published in 1926. So now we're talking about Sun Also Rises. In what sport did Robert Cohn participate at Princeton? So Robert Cohn was a boxer. So Hemingway was also a boxer in as a hobby. So this was also autobiographical about the novel or Hemingway. So Robert Cohn and Jake Bernice are two main characters of this novel. So out of them, Robert Cohn was a boxer. Where does the fiesta occur? So fiesta is a festival which includes bullfight and so many other activities. So that happens in Spain. What is Cohen's profession? So Cohen was a boxer, but by profession he was a writer. So he he wanted to be a boxer so that people cannot taunt him, because he was a Jew, and it was an element of shame for him in those days. In what war was Jake injured? So Jake Bernice, our protagonist, he was injured in World War I. Who knows the most about bullfighting? So of all the characters here, Jake Bernice knows about the bullfighting. What country does Jake come from? So Jake belongs to USA, America. What is Brett's title? So Brett happens to be the lady of the novel. You may call her the heroine of the novel. So she is Lady Brett Ashley. Who wins the fight between Jake, Mike, and Cohen? So it is Cohen who wins the fight. What is the name of the owner of hotel where Jake stays during the fiesta? So he is Montoya. Let me get back here. Like, it is more primarily a fight between Mike and Cohen. So Montoya was the person who was a hotel manager, and he was there in Spain, and he in his hotel, all of these guys, they were staying. Montoya was a bullfight lover. There's another character who comes, so he is Count Mippipopoulos. So Mippipopoulos was a wealthy Greek expatriate living in Paris. What is an expatriate? So a person who lives outside their native country. So an expatriate is a person जो कि अपने native country से दूर रहता हो किसी जगह पे. How does Brett and Romero's relationship end? So Romero is a bullfighter, a professional bullfighter, क्योंकि उस जमाने में bullfighting थोड़ा सा दिखावा बन चुका था. But Pedro Romero was one of them who were real bullfighters. So उसका और Brett Ashley का एक relation बन जाता है. Now this Brett Ashley is very unique kind of a character. Brett Ashley is in love with Jake Bernice, the protagonist. She is married to Mike, who fought with Cohen. She also spent some days and nights with Robert Cohen. She also went out with Count Mippopoulos, so he also went with her. But she is truly in love with Jake Bernice. So Jake also knows that what is going on. And she is also in love with Romero. But afterwards, their relationship ends when Brett feels that Romero has much of life left to live, but and she should not destroy his career. So she forces him to leave. Which character is physically impotent? So Jake Bernice. It is because of war. When there was a bomb, it was blast there, and Jake Bernice became impotent. So that's why Ashley is in love with him, but she has so many other choices too. In what sport do Jake and Bill engage while in Spain? So they go for fishing. So this is also something that was Hemingway's own hobby. How good a bullfighter is Pedro Romero? So he is the best around. He is the most professional around. Who is Hemingway hero in the novel? So Hemingway hero is a technique or a code that is named for hero. Hemingway hero is a person who is called Tyro, Tyro. It is a kind of person who is like not professional, he is amateur, he is not experienced. So Jake Bernice is the Hemingway hero because he was not a war man. Who is Code Hero? So Code Hero is opposite of Hemingway Hero. Hemingway Hero is Tyro. Code Hero is tutor. So here, Pedro Romero is tutor. He is experienced, he is professional, and he is like, he's mature enough in his work. How does Cohn react to bullfight? So he's probably the only person who is not interested in bullfighting, so it makes him sick. Where did Brett and Jake meet? So they met first of all at a hospital during World War I. So इसमें हेमिंगवे की भी एक नर्स से मुलाकात होती है रियल लाइफ में when he was injured. वहाँ भी उसे एक नर्स मिली. So this is autobiographical. Who introduces Brett to Romero? It is Jake. So since Jake is impotent, so he introduces Brett to Romero. He cannot do anything else. What does Cohn ask Romero to do after Cohn beats him up? So he shakes his hand, and it is just out of jealousy because Brett is prone towards Romero. What is Cohn's girlfriend's name? So Cohn also had a girlfriend. Her name was Frances. उसके साथ इसकी जो मोहब्बत थी वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कूल डाउन होती गई यहाँ तक कि ये एक दूसरे से अलग हो गए. With whom does Brett secretly go to San Sebastian? So she goes with Robert Cohn. Aficionado. So aficionado is a term that is used for Jake and for Montoya, the hotel man. So it is about a person who is very knowledgeable and enthusiastic about an activity, subject, or pastime. So यहाँ पे aficionado. So aficionado was said to those people who loved bullfighting and who knew about it. तो मोन्टोयो का जो होटल था उसमें सिर्फ aficionados इनके लिए वो बुक होता था, आम बंदा उसमें नहीं रह सकता था. For Whom the Bell Tolls was published in 1940. So this is second novel. Who was Hemingway hero in this? It was Robert Jordan, the protagonist. Jordan was basically a college teacher, so he was also not a man of war. तो ये सारे वो थे जो के like voluntarily they were there to fight. He came to fight in Spanish Civil War. What is Robert Jordan's nickname for Maria? जो कि उसे एक जगह पे मिलती है लड़की जिससे उसे प्यार होता है. So it is Rabbit. Maria was victim of rape at the hands of fascists. So fascists ने उसको rape किया होता है और वो victim होती है और फिर बाद में एक troop के हाथ में उनके साथ मिल जाती है where she meets Jordan for the first time. Fascism क्या है? Basically it is a form of far right authoritarian ultra nationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition and strong regimentation of society. कि जिसमें हर चीज by force हो रही है और डिक्टेटर की पावर्स हैं वो और उन्हें यूज किया जा रहा है, मुल्क में खौफ व हरास फैलाया जा रहा है. Why does Maria have short hair? Like fascists cut it when they polished her town. So जब उन्होंने उसकी टाउन पे हमला किया तो उसके बाल काट दिए. How did Pela's relationship with the Torado Finicio end? So it ends like Finicio died as a result of complications from injuries in a bullfight. So Pilar एक main character है. How do the guerrilla fighters store their wine? So they store it in hollowed out animal skins. What does Maria say that prompts Robert Jordan to tell her that he loves her? So she says that she could not sleep with him if he does not love her. So basically, he was at war and he wanted to have company. What is Andres' brother's name? So it is Primitivo. To whom does Pablo whisper affectionately on the night that Robert Jordan arrives at the guerrilla camp? So it is his horse that he is talking to. Which members of the guerrilla camp are at least partly of gypsy descent? So it is Raphael and Pilar. So they come from gypsies. Which characters are referred to as old? So Anselmo and Primitivo, they are considered old. Who fights on the fascist side? So Paco Berrendo is the person who fights on the side of fascists, who wants Robert Jordan to take Maria's love seriously, because he was first of all, or initially not serious about it. So it's Augustine. Jordan's mission was to blow the bridge. So there was a bridge which was a supply line. So he wanted to blow that. What happened at the very end of the novel? So Robert Jordan waits to shoot the approaching lieutenant. So his leg was damaged and he was badly hurt. So he could not survive or live long, or he could not go. So he let rest of the people or friends go there, and he was lying there on the mercy of the lieutenant, and he was aiming to shoot at him. A Farewell to Arms, the third novel. So it was published in 1929. So at the beginning of the novel, Henry reports that 7,000 soldiers have died due to cholera. So cholera was incurable in those days. So उसकी वजह से बहुत सारे फौजी मर चुके हैं. Henry is the protagonist of the novel. Immediately before Henry kisses Catherine for the first time, they make a pact to do what? So they say that drop all discussion about the war. So this this has a symbolism in title. A Farewell to Arms is about two things. Arms हथियारों के लिए भी, यानी आर्मी को भी फेयरवेल कहना, एंड आर्म्स बाजुओं को, यानी कैथरीन को फेयरवेल कहना. सो वो कहते हैं कि हम जंग को डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे. Before Henry heads off to the front at Pavla, what does Catherine give him? So it is a Saint Anthony medal to protect him. Before the trench mortar wounds him, why does Henry leave the dugout? So he went to get out to get the food for his drivers, जहाँ पे वो जख्मी हो जाता है. How does Mrs. Walker greet Henry upon his arrival at the American hospital in Milan? So she is trying to see him, and she tells that she cannot arrange any room without the permission of the doctors. What is the name of the good-natured doctor who agrees to operate on Henry's leg? So he wants to be cured soon. तो वो डॉक्टर वेलेंचिनी है जो कि मानता है बात. Why does Catherine decide to bet on a certain horse in a race that she believes has been fixed? Because the horse has been dyed a different color, so that's why she's doing so. How does Catherine respond to the news that Henry has received 3 weeks of convalescent leave? So, it is a leave जिसमें वो आता है for the treatment or for cure or या सुकून के लिए. So she tells him that she is pregnant of his baby. What characteristic makes the Ettore Mauritia a good contrast to Lieutenant Henry? So क्या चीजें दोनों को आपस में थोड़ा सा different बनाती हैं Ettore को और Henry को? Because Ettore is a braggart. So Henry जो है, Henry he is a person जो कि Catherine के साथ, like Robert Jordan in the previous novel, वो थोड़ा सा एक distance पे था, sincere नहीं था, और लेकिन ये इन चीज़ों के साथ साथ ये था कि he was what he was. Like he was not exaggerating, boasting of what he was doing. लेकिन यहाँ पे, in this case, Atur is a braggart. So braggart is a person who is boasting, exaggerating. How is Henry wounded after he crawls out of the river? So in this way, he gets his head cut. थोड़ा सा जख्म हो जाता है उसके सर में. In Milan, who lends Henry a suit of civilian clothing? So it is Rolf Simmons, जो कि उसे civilian कपड़े देता है. What is Helen Ferguson's reaction upon seeing Henry in a stretcher? So she's angry by seducing her and making her pregnant. तो उसे गुस्सा आता कि ये शायद इसकी लाइफ को खराब करना चाह रहा है. हालांकि शुरू में ऐसा ही था, लेकिन by the end or by the middle, Henry was in love with Catherine. And this was the situation of Hemingway himself. He met a nurse, he was in love with her. Later on, she died in childbirth. So why do the Swiss guards argue in front of Catherine and Henry? So they're discussing about their best winter sports, that which city is offering so. So these were from Hemingway. Now later on what happens, they leave army for good. They go to Switzerland where she is expecting a baby. They have some romantic time together, and during childbirth, she is unable to survive, and she has a hemorrhage in the end, and then she dies.